I didn't freak out. I pulled over, I stopped, I listened to what the doctor said, and I was on my way to get my hair cut. I was on my way to my barber. I went to my barber, didn't say a word to her. I wasn't all teary eyed. I did give my mom a heads up to let her know that I did get the phone call and that I would give her the information, the details when I got home. And so I wasn't overthinking, because think about it. When something has happened to you and it's never happened to you before, whether getting a pink slip. Maybe you had never been fired from your job before. Maybe you've never been evicted. Maybe you've never had your car picked up in the middle of the night and walked outside and realized your car is gone. That happened to me more than once. That's a whole nother episode.
Welcome to Reset to Reinvent podcast, where we empower women and entrepreneurs to rebuild and thrive after life's toughest challenges. I'm Helen Blocker Adams, founder of Unusual Determination, breast cancer survivor, published author, and licensed insurance specialist with over 11 years of experience helping women protect their futures. I've lived on 3 continents, survived breast cancer, run for political office 3 times, and rebuilt my life more times than I can count. And now I help women like you do the same with both the inner transformation and the outer protection you need to build boldly. Let's dive in.
Hi, I'm Helen Blocker Adams, host of Reset to Reinvent podcast.
And I'm Vanessa, CEO of Talent Connect.
We have connected our talent as women entrepreneurs, and I am pleased to announce Talent Connect as a founding sponsor for our popular podcast.
For any of your staffing, payroll, or other business services needs, be sure to check out our website at talentconnectga.net. That's talentconnectga.net.
And don't forget to subscribe to our popular YouTube channel, Reset to Reinvent YouTube channel.
Today's episode of Reset to Reinvent podcast is brought to you by the Adams Group Agency, developing final expense leaders.
Hello, and welcome to episode 43 of Reset to Reinvent podcast. I am your host, Helen Blocker Adams, and I want to welcome you to today's episode. I'm so excited about what I have to share with you today. This is part 2 of a 4-part series as I unveil a little bit more about me and my story. And one of the things in my story of all of the years that I've been in existence, I have to admit, almost 5 years ago, it was getting the diagnosis of breast cancer. And that was a transformative experience for me and has led me to where I am today as I look at the term unusual determination, the name of my book, the name of my new coaching company that is being unveiled here in the month of January. And when I think back and when I reflect back on that whole experience, that whole journey, it's almost like it didn't exist. And when I look at how I feel, when I look at how I look compared to some dark days that I had during that experience. And so today is going to be I don't want to say it's going to be sad, but there may be some sad moments. I may get kind of caught up because some of the things will come back to my memory. It's not something that you can forget when you get this diagnosis. And And when you think about the C word, the when person is diagnosed, whether it's breast cancer, and in my case it was triple negative breast cancer. um, uh, that is a type of breast cancer. And what I found that there are so many different types of breast cancers. But this is a type that affects only like 10 to 12% of women who get breast cancer. It's more prevalent in women of color and African American women. And it has if it's not treated properly, it can progress pretty quickly. Okay, and in my case, obviously, since I'm still here, was able to catch it quickly, and that's what mammograms will do for you. Okay, so we're going to peel a little bit more of the onion, of my onion, on today's episode, and I'm really excited about it. But I'm going to be honest with you, a little nervous too. Okay, I'm just going to keep it real. I'm a little nervous because anytime you're now, you all know me enough now to know that I am very transparent. Okay, but there is something more transparent when you're talking about something that everybody hasn't experienced it. Okay, and there's so many different types of cancer. You mentioned the C word and people just freak out. Oh, I'm going to die. And oh, it's hopelessness and it's despair. And whereas my book that I wrote and the coaching business that I'm launching this month, it's about giving hope. It's about giving life and letting you know that you can reinvent yourself and that you can rebuild, even if there's some differences in your body, differences in your breast size, and all of those type of things. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited at the same time. Okay, y'all with me? But before we go further, I want to thank you, everybody that has been liking my shorts, liking my podcast. Uh, Definitely want you to subscribe on YouTube. I want you to subscribe to our Reset to Reinvent podcast, Reinvent. Reset to Reinvent podcast, a YouTube channel. Definitely want you to subscribe. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed so far. Want you to like and subscribe on any of the platforms that you listen or watch our show. Okay. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And want you to check out our new website, Unusual Determination. It is just absolutely beautiful. My producer she just works magic. All I have to do is say, I need this, on this. And then my graphic designer, she comes up with really neat logos. And guys, you got to go check it out. Matter of fact, you can go ahead and check it out right now while you're listening and watching me. Okay. Unusualdetermination.com. Go through and take a look and take a look. It's good stuff on there. Okay. But starting today, because you're such a wonderful, amazing partner on my podcast, I want to offer you free access to my school community. Okay. I tell you what, go into my footer here on the podcast. Go into the footer and click where it says subscribe on School HBA Academy. And when you do that, you're going to have free access. I'm offering it free to you, and there's so much information on there. There are ebooks dealing with sales, ebooks dealing with building your self-esteem and your confidence and all those type of things. And there's going to be a lot more things that I'm going to be adding on there so that we can be able to communicate more. But I need you there. Go ahead and subscribe. It's free and it's on me. Why? Because you are so special. So special. So as we go into today's episode, the title of today's episode is Cancer Tried to End My Story. And I'm going to talk today about part of today and next week's episode. Here's how I rewrote it. Now, this podcast, Reset to Reinvent. It's about reinvention. It's about having to rebuild. It's about dealing with challenges and situations that sometimes will knock you down, will knock you flat on your feet. And I'm here to tell you that definitely with your relationship with God, and you two are in line and in alignment with each other, you're going to be okay. Now, you may have to struggle a little bit. And I have to tell you, when I think about my book, Unusual Determination, this book right here is a godsend. And the reason I say that is, and I'm going to share some excerpts from my book, okay? Because I want you to realize that when you think about where you are today, and let's just say you had something that knocked you just off your feet last year, whether it was a loss, whether it's whatever that knocked you off your feet to make you think, oh man, I am never going to get through this. But fast forward to today's date, you're still here. Think about it. And so sometimes we have to just count our blessings. Because when I think about my diagnosis in April 2021 and being diagnosed with the C word, that was pretty traumatic, guys. And when I think back, it's even more traumatic now that I'm talking about it than it was then. And maybe because I was naive about a few things, not about breast cancer. And I don't want to say naive in a negative sense, but sometimes we can get ahead of ourselves. We're already given our own prognosis. You've gotten a diagnosis. You've gotten a car repossessed. You've gotten an eviction notice. You've gotten a pink slip your job, and you're already thinking, woe is me, and I'm never going to be able to find another job. I'm never going to be able to do this. And you're already prophesizing what's going to happen. And you've got to think about this moment of this day and not allow your mind to get ahead of yourself. And I think that's what I did. And I'm really kind of getting ahead of myself as I'm sharing today, but I'm just going to let today's episode flow. Is that okay with you? Okay, thanks. I really appreciate that, because when I think about the phone call that I got that day, and I'm going to read something from my book in just a moment. I didn't freak out. I pulled over. I stopped. I listened to what the doctor said, and I was on my way to get my hair cut. I was on my way to my barber. I went to my barber. Didn't say a word to her. I wasn't all teary-eyed. I did give my mom a heads up to let her know that I did get the phone call and that I would give her the information, the details when I got home. And so I wasn't overthinking, because think about it. When something has happened to you and it's never happened to you before, whether getting a pink slip, maybe you had never been fired from your job before. Maybe you've never been evicted. Maybe you've never had your car picked up in the middle of the night and walked outside and realized your car is gone. That happened to me. more than once. That's a whole nother episode. Okay. When I tell you I have reinvented myself 7 times, ain't no lie. Okay. I'm peeling this onion. Okay. I have got some stories to tell y'all. Oh my goodness. But I'm still here. You're still here. So don't try to figure things out. You just have to let one day take its course and allow God to help hold your hand. Hold your hand. So here's what I want to do. I want to read. Now, this is the back of my book. Okay. And my book, Unusual Determination. Now, by the way, if you want to get a copy, autographed copy, if you go to unusualdetermination.com, unusualdetermination.com, you can go to the page where I can't remember what menu item it is, but you can be able to get my book. You can order my book and I'll send it to you. I'll autograph it, send it to you. Okay, you can do that right now too. Okay, you can get this book because this book isn't necessarily for someone who has been diagnosed or who had breast cancer or any type of cancer. This is for anyone who's looking for hope, who's looking for victory. Because check this out. The name of my book is Unusual Determination, Helen's Breast Cancer Journey to Victory. This book is about victory. Now, are there some dark moments? Absolutely. Are you going to have some dark moments? Absolutely. But you can get past it. You can get past it. And that's what my coaching business is going to be about. I'm going to be able to share with you and deep dive with you and work with you one-on-one for those of you who decide to participate and jump on board with some of my coaching programs as I unveil them over the coming weeks. I want to let you know that I can be able to help you. I've been there, done that. Okay. Been there, done that. So here's what I want to do. I wanted to write another book for quite some time now. My last work, Unlikely Allies, 8 Steps to Bridging Divides That Impact Leadership, was written and published in 2010. Now, I love to write. Okay. I simply love to write. I just don't make the time to do it as often as I should or desire. Sharing information, empowering and inspiring people is what I truly love to do. I think you guys have figured that out, right? Part of the challenge of why it's taken me so long to write another book is that I didn't know what I was going to write about. Okay. Should it be about business, politics, inspiration, motivation? And yes, there are other books with those topics brewing in my mind, but something out of the ordinary happened to me in 2021. And it's been in my heart to share it. When I first received the news, I was stunned. It absolutely took me by surprise. But oddly, I didn't get emotional about it. The follow-up letter, additional tests, and consistent information shared to me by the nurses and doctors prepared me for what was to come. They were kind and gentle with the news, methodical, prepared, and knowledgeable about everything they expressed to me. You see, they've seen all what I was to experience before. Think about it. You get a diagnosis and you're freaking out. No shade on anybody who freaks out. Please don't misunderstand me, because everybody handles situations differently. But what I want you to know is that I trusted what they said. I trusted my doctors because they were very thorough. They were very meticulous. They didn't leave anything out. They didn't sugarcoat. They didn't sugarcoat. And that was important to me because I'm the type of person, I want to know the details. Okay, give me the details. Don't sugarcoat it. And that's what they did. All three of them. I'll talk more about that. Probably hundreds of times with all of the people that they serve, the doctors and the nurses, as they shared all of the steps, everything that I was going to experience, giving me instructions on what websites to look at and research and what websites not to. Okay. There are certain websites that, I mean, think about it. How many of you have done this? My sister, rest her soul, she used to do this a lot. She gets a little ache or a little pain and she feels some kind of way, or she's got a child or one of the children that she always took care of and something's going on, and she goes on Google and she researches. And then you go on Google and it's got all different types of things that come up. Oh my gosh, you're going to think you're about to die. So one of the first things my doctor and the nurses that were assigned to me, they said, only read these specific websites that are specifically dealing with, that are like cancer websites, specifically dealing with breast cancer, not just random stuff. And I made sure that I stayed away from that, because if not, I would have, oh my goodness, it could be overkill. Okay, it can be overkill. Okay, so let me finish. I told you we're just going to kind of flow with this. And I'm praying that this episode today is going to bless you and give you hope. That is my desire. I want you all to know that you can rebuild and reinvent yourself regardless of the situation, okay? Because when it comes to hurt and pain and discomfort and heartbreak and fear and all of those things, they're the same. It just so happens in my case, I had a cancer diagnosis, okay? All right, y'all with me? Does that make sense? Okay. And so my story, my journey will be told, and it's going to be my next published book. And this is what I'm still reading in the back of my book here. As you read this book, you will note that I switch from first person to third person throughout. Parts of this work are direct comments from my journal on any given day. I pray that these words will be a blessing to you. And I ended it with a scripture from James 5:15 and 16, which says, and the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him. And if he has committed sins, they shall have forgiven him. Okay, so that's from the back of my book as we talk about unusual determination, Helen's breast cancer journey to victory. Now, when you think about the C word, most people, it's synonymous with death and dying and fear and uncertainty and chaos and all of those things. And there's so many different types of cancer, so many different types of breast cancer. And it's like, but, with technology and research and all of that, more and more people are living, but sadly, a lot of people still die from those. I have an aunt that passed away years ago from breast cancer. I have a niece that passed away 2 years ago from cancer, and it wasn't breast cancer. There's been family members in my family, and I'm sure in yours. I believe every family on the planet has been affected by some type of cancer. But unusual determination is about hope. Okay, it's about hope. And I want you to think about, as I read this, I want you to think about a moment where everything changed, you know, in your life, whether it was personally or professionally. It could be where you lost a loved one that was real dear to you, or you got a diagnosis, or you lost your job and you've never lost your job before. You had a horrible heartbreak. You had you were evicted. You had your car repossessed. You know, those things that I mentioned earlier. But those are traumatic moments that everything changes. You know, families, parents who have lost a child unexpectedly, you know, a horrible car accident, a horrible shooting. There's just so many different things. So I want you to think about the moment that your life changed and where you are now. I want you to think about the fact that, you know, yes, there was a sense of loss of confidence because you're like, oh man, I've blown it again. Why do I keep on making mistakes? Jeez. But, and you lose that self confidence. I want to show you that you can rebuild your confidence. Okay. The thing about it, you can't give up. You can't give up. Another thing about the breast cancer diagnosis or any type of diagnosis of a life-threatening disease, okay? And when we talk about cancer, I think we can all agree that's a life-threatening disease, okay? There's a loss of identity. You know, one of the things that I said that I was not going to do, and it never came out of my mouth, that I had breast cancer. I always said I was diagnosed with breast cancer. There's a difference. Now, some people may just say, well, you know, but it's the same thing. You got it. The doctor said whatever. But words that you put into your mindset, words that sound like, you know, it's all doom and gloom, your body is going to react to that. So I was diagnosed with it. So when you're diagnosed with it, yes, you got to do what the doctors say and follow the instructions and do what they say so that you can get better, so that you're no longer have what you were diagnosed. And that was me. Now that was me. I just never said those words the whole time. Okay. I never said, I always said I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. Okay. Diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. So here's what I want to do. The title of my first chapter is An Unwelcomed and Uninvited Beast. An unwelcomed and uninvited beast. Now that kind of hits me a little bit because it was my brother that lives in Santa Monica that when I shared with him, I can't remember if I shared the news with him or my mom. I think my mom did first. Yeah. As a matter of fact, she shared it with both of my brothers. And I remember neither one of them reached out to me for a little while. They took it really hard. And that's like coming back. Okay. I'm feeling this was going to get emotional just for a minute. Just for a minute. Okay, y'all work with me here. So it was my brother. So check this out. This is in the first chapter. Chapter 1. An unwelcomed and uninvited beast. That's what my brother Daryl termed it. An unwelcomed and uninvited beast. His girlfriend Janie had a sister who died of lung cancer and another who is a breast cancer survivor. It's the term that he used whenever he and I talked throughout that whole experience. Monday, March 22nd, 2021, I was scheduled for my annual mammogram, a checkup I consistently began once I turned 50 years old. I went to the University Hospital Mammogram Mobile Unit located on the campus of the hospital. As uncomfortable as mammograms are, I believe in being proactive with my health and self-care. Ladies and gents, ladies in particular, get your mammograms. Yes, it does hurt. Yes, it does pinch, but it's only for a few seconds. Okay, get it done, please. Okay. So as uncomfortable as mammograms are, I believe in being proactive with my health. So I look forward to my annual exams. Self-care is critical. I must admit, I never considered getting a follow-up letter saying anything different than the results are negative. We'll see you next year. Because that's what, when I turned 50, one mammogram, you get the letter, you're going to get a letter saying, hey, it doesn't say congratulations. It just says the results were negative and and we'll see you next year. And it's like, yes. Okay. A negative follow-up letter was usually the case. Negative as in you don't have breast cancer. Okay. Everything's good. We don't see anything abnormal. But this time I received a letter, 5 days later, as promised. Now, the letter didn't come any quicker than it had any other. They always, 3 to 5 days, you'll have your letter. Okay. This particular time, I got my letter 5 days later. Okay. I opened it, but it said something completely different. It was a Friday. I'll never forget. Now, this was 2021. This is 2026. And I remember it like it was yesterday, y'all. So when we talk about a moment in your life where everything changed, that was one of those moments. Everything changed because I had never gotten a letter that said anything other than what the previous letters had said after my mammogram. Okay. It was a Friday, and the follow-up letter stated there was some abnormality, and I needed to schedule a second mammogram. It was after 5 o'clock when I checked the mail and read the letter. So I had to wait until Monday to make that call. I didn't tell anyone about the letter. Although my mom, now she knew I had a mammogram, but she didn't know I got the letter. I didn't mention anything about the letter because I didn't want to alarm her. Okay, I didn't want to alarm myself, but I was anxious the entire weekend, and Monday seemed to take forever to come. Oh my gosh, that was a long weekend, y'all. And I'm not one to worry, but I was a little anxious. I was a little anxious because, once again, think about something that has happened to you that's never happened before. It changed your life. It changed the course. It changed the course of my thinking as in, could it be breast cancer? And that didn't cross my mind per se. I just didn't know what to expect. Okay. So I called the hospital on Monday, the 29th of March, and earliest follow-up appointment available was Friday, April the 1st at 8:30. This will be a very long week for me. Okay. Think about it. I had to wait from that Friday to Monday. All right. And to even make the phone call to schedule the second mammogram. And then they didn't have any immediate openings. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Friday, April 1st at 8:30. This will be a very long week for me. The second mammogram was designed for the technicians to take a more intense, invasive look to verify the image, the abnormality that they found and discovered in the first mammogram. Now, let me say this. Some of you, and I know of women who have received that second letter. They said, "Oop, we need to take a second look." Depending on the age of the person, it may not be a big deal at all. Okay. But that sense of anxiety is going to be there. I'm going to tell you. I am not going to sugarcoat stuff. Okay. You are going to be anxious, but then after they go and they do that second check, and there's different techniques that they have to be able to dig a little bit further than what the mammogram, the initial mammograms, a machine does. And then you could still leave out of there saying, "Hey, look, everything's good. Everything's good." But in my case, it was a little different. A sonogram. Oh, so after they did that, they did a sonogram. A sonogram was also administered to solidify the diagnosis the doctor was preparing me for. So when they did that second mammogram, looking at it in a different way, digging a little bit deeper, and what was so helpful for me, because once again, I like to know about things. When I process, when you think about having to reinvent and rebuild, your mindset, you gotta work on your mindset. You gotta try to be positive. You gotta have all of the information. You don't want to be thinking ahead at what could be. You want to zero in on the truth, the information, so that you can be calmer. You can have a calmer situation when you have the facts. Doesn't that make sense? Okay. So, they saw something, that the abnormality that they saw, it was verified in that second mammogram. And then the sonogram just sealed the deal. Now, at the time, the what did they call it? The radiology nurse, radiation. No, it wasn't radiology. It was a technician. I can't remember the exact title, but she was telling me some things as we went along to prepare me for what could be. Okay. A tumor was discovered. It was tiny, the size of a pea. The doctor said I now needed a biopsy to determine if the tumor was benign or cancerous. And see, this is what happens sometimes too when people go and get another sonogram, and they have to get the biopsy. And a lot of times it will come back benign. And benign means everything's good, everything's all good. But then on the other hand, you could get the result of cancer. But can you imagine, though, during that whole experience, the anxiety is going to be there. That there's just no doubt about it. The anxiety is going to be there, and there's got to be ways that you can work through that. And we have anxiety in all different types of situations. And so, one of the things that I have learned over the years of reinvention and this whole breast cancer scenario, this breast cancer journey, and everything that I went through. And when I really dissect everything that I did and everything that I was able to get through, I realized there are some techniques and some things and some I can't even think of what I really want to say here, but there's some things that I can be able to help you with, no matter what you might be going through. And that's how Unusual Determination Coaching came about. My book is the foundation. Excerpts from my book, strategies that I'm going to extract from my book to be able to help you through whatever situation you're going through, because I've done it. And in my the Protected Reset beta program that I'm starting, and I'm looking for 5 women. If you're interested in getting more information and being my first founders, members, send me an email right away to reset2reinvent@gmail.com. reset2reinvent@gmail.com. Okay. Send me an email and say, hey, Helen, send me the details. I want to look at possibly doing this. All I need is 5. Okay. Because I'm going to be able to help you get through some stuff. It may not be breast cancer. It may not be a life-threatening situation, but let me tell you, I mean, can we agree some of the stuff that I'm sharing, making you, yeah. Okay. So let me share a couple more things as we wrap up today's. I want to, I got to get to this part. Okay. Okay. So the doctor said I now needed a biopsy to determine if the tumor was benign or cancerous. Twice that day while I was there, I was told a mass discovered in a woman of my age is typically not benign. You see, they were already preparing me. And see, that's where your mind, my mind could have gone way over here when I got that letter the week before. Oh, I'm going to die. Oh, but I waited, and the nurse was telling me, she was already preparing me. Okay. She wasn't saying it in a hurtful way or fearful way for me to be nervous. She was just being very factual. Okay. And I appreciated that. Okay. The technician even mentioned lumps usually don't form in a woman's breast at my age or beyond menopause for no reason. She said the good news was the abnormality was detected early. Mammograms, going to get your mammograms every year. But at my age, well, they were optimistic, yet honest with me, and I really truly appreciated that. I believe it helped me maintain a level head as I waited for the results. Folks, we've got to our mind. When you say your mind is a powerful thing, our mind can take us way over to the left side or way over to the right side, and a lot of times it's you're thinking of things and experiencing things that you really didn't have to experience. And that's why I chose to keep my mind focused on the facts and the information, focusing on my the experts that knew what they were doing. and knew what they were talking about. Okay? I hope this episode is helping somebody today. So I'm going to finish with this. My biopsy was scheduled for Tuesday, April 6th at 8 a.m. And of course, I had to share the news with my mom. Okay, so on the 6th, my mom accompanied me to get something I've never had done before. Okay, a biopsy. I never had a biopsy before. And many of you, once again, that was another transformational day, something that had never, ever happened before, never had a biopsy. Okay, because I've been, healthy all my life. I think, growing up, I may have gotten pneumonia a few times. Okay, but for the most part, I was very healthy. Okay, and let me say this: just because you got a diagnosis of cancer or any other type of cancer, it doesn't necessarily mean that you were not healthy. There was no rhyme or reason why I got that diagnosis. They couldn't say, well, because you didn't do this and you didn't do that and you didn't eat that and you didn't do that. They didn't say that. I mean, doctors are good, but they're not God. It just happened. Okay. A biopsy is a medical procedure to remove a piece of tissue or sample of cells from your body to be tested in a laboratory. My level of optimism came from my mom because she didn't miss a beat. Now, I don't know what she was doing when I wasn't around her, okay? We didn't ever talk about that, not at that time. But she was my rock. And I definitely got to keep moving because this is, oh my gosh. She's an incredibly strong woman, okay? Dr. Pouglier, my surgeon oncologist, performed the biopsy that day. My mom did a good job of remaining positive and assured me everything was going to be okay. I had to wait 2 long days as I waited to hear back from my doctor with the results. It seemed as if I was on a fast track to an unwelcome and uninvited beast from the day that I received a follow-up letter. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share more in next week's episode as I go into a little bit more detail about what happened in those coming days and weeks. And I want to share with you, the financial part, a lot of people go through situations where they don't have support. They're just all over the place. And I want to share with you some things on next week's episode as I dive a little bit further in my book, Unusual Determination, Helen's Breast Cancer Journey to Victory. You're saying you're probably, Helen's leaving us hanging. Yeah, I'm going to leave you hanging because I've got to leave you hanging because I want you to realize that the C word is not it's not death and dying. It's not a death sentence. There are many people now. Yes, a lot of people. I lost my Aunt Pat to breast cancer long time ago. I've lost loved ones. I have friends, people that I don't know that passed away due to breast cancer. And my heart goes out to them. But there are some of us who are still here. We lived, we survived, we're thriving. And I wrote a book about it. I journaled the whole experience. And now, I want to encourage anyone who's out there who's gone through something that's just kind of took your breath away. Journal the experience. You'll be surprised how journaling can help you just get your feelings out. And it may not necessarily have to be put into a book, but just put your ideas and your feelings on paper. I journaled every day, except some of those dark days where I just couldn't move. And there were a lot of those, especially after the chemo treatments. Okay. All right, guys. I want you to be encouraged. I don't want you to be sad. I want you to be encouraged, because unusual determination, if you think about the definition, we're going to deep dive into the definition of unusual and the definition of determination. And I want you to know that hey, you have unusual determination. Okay, I know for a fact that I do, and I believe that you do too. You just don't know it yet. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you to subscribe, like all of our whatever platform that you listen to us. I really want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want you to definitely go to our brand new spanking new website, unusualdetermination.com. unusualdetermination.com. Check it out. It's a great website. And of course, if you want to go ahead and grab a copy of my book and you do it right away, who knows, you might be able to get it before next week's episode so that you can you might be able to, pardon me, you might be able to get the book in the mail before our next week's episode. Okay. All right. Yeah. Go to unusualdetermination.com, and I want you to take a look at our website. And don't forget, I'm giving you a free, go to my school community, HBA Academy. Go down in the footers of my all of the whichever platform you're watching or listening. Go into footers, click on HBA Academy, and it's free. It is free. Grab some of that information that's on there. If you go into the menu item that says classroom, oh my goodness, I've got so many ebooks there that's designed to help you. Okay, designed to help you. Yes, I want to help you in so many ways. So I hope that you got something out of today's episode. I really, really am excited about what's coming in the rest of the next 2 weeks in this month of January. And definitely, I want you to consider, if you want to be one of my first, I'm calling it my beta program, the Protected Reset, I'm going to go into more details, what's going to be a part of that 3-month coaching program. But I want you to consider it. Because I can be able to help you. I promise I can be able to help you, okay, in whatever situation you're going through. So send me an email to reset2reinvent@gmail.com and let me know, hey, Helen, send me that information. I might want to consider being in the first 5. So listen, you have yourself a wonderful rest of the week, rest of the day. You guys are amazing. And just remember that you deserve to be inspired. Until next time, peace. Hi, I'm Helen Blocker Adams, host of Reset to Reinvent podcast.
And I'm Vanessa, CEO of Talent Connect.
We have connected our talent as women entrepreneurs, and I am pleased to announce Talent Connect as a founding sponsor for our popular podcast.
For any of your staffing, payroll, or other business services needs, be sure to check out our website at talentconnectga.net. That's talentconnectga.net.
And don't forget to subscribe to our popular YouTube channel, Reset to Reinvent YouTube channel.